And instead of meeting at the City Hall Council Chambers, we're all doing this via Zoom. We do have some three things on our agenda, new business, and those folks that are out there, we will ask you as you come up whether or not you agree and consent to holding your request for variances via Zoom as opposed to being live and in person. It is, as I said, 3:06. I'll call the order as Ms. Tomsky's not here. Of course, I'm the chair, Joel Fritz. I'm present. Tim Golden.
Present.
Karen Mobert.
Present.
And Julianne Stowski.
Present.
Harold Minnick is excused. And I will tell everyone again, kind of do this every time since Hal hasn't been around for a while. You have a right to have all board members hear your request. And if you wish, you can continue your case to a time when we have a full complement of our board. But if you choose to go forward today, you live with our decision, which may or may not be different if we had a full board. And again, we'll ask all of you as you come up for your cases, whether or not you would like to continue your case or go forward today. Fair enough, everybody? Okay. I didn't hear anybody say no, but I didn't hear anybody say yes. So I just assume everybody assented. So,
Mr. Chairman, if I can interrupt you for a minute,
yes.
Maybe you should make sure that all three cases are online.
I'm fairly, well, maybe, let's see. I know that the lyrics are here. I'm trying to think of the person's name for the sign company for Shell. Is there someone here for the request for the sign at the Shell station on Lorraine Boulevard? Okay.
George Dragon.
It doesn't sound like we have anybody there. And then it looks like I thought there was a Kyle, but Kyle or Christina Taylor, are they here? Oh, interesting. At one point, I thought I had seen on the screen a Kyle, but maybe it was Kevin that I was looking at instead. Okay.
That's why I brought it to your attention, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, I mean, if they come aboard, they'll come aboard. But, you know, again, the meeting starts at 3 and we gave everybody a little bit of extra time. So let's get some housekeeping out of the way. Did everybody on the board get the minutes from our February 4th meeting?
Yes.
And
yes.
This time the chair will entertain a motion on that.
Well, I'll
Mr.
move
Chairman.
that we accept the minutes from February 4th, 2021 last meeting.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of February 4th meeting 2021. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it and the minutes are approved. So I might have to do this a couple times if we have some people jump on, but this will be obviously for the lyrics. We have our case presentation format. Folks will ask you to kind of tell the board why you want your variance. Once you have done the city, in particular Mr. Farkas, to explain the city's position. If there are any proponents or opponents to your request, they will be allowed to speak. And certainly there may be some questions and discussion from board members that are in attendance. So seeing that there is no old business, and with our agenda on the new business, we will pass on case number 2021-3 and move on to case number 2021-4, David and Joyce Lyric, 161 Kensington Way, Elyria, Ohio, 44035, requesting a variance from section 1175.03 of the Elyria Codified Ordinances. The proposed driveway extension is indicated to be 4 feet 5 inches in width and is to be installed adjacent to the existing 16-foot driveway. The total width of the proposed driveway will be 20 feet 5 inches, and combined driveway coverage calculates at 36.61%. Zoning code states that the areas of a driveway in a front yard shall not exceed 1/3 of the area of such yard, and the maximum width shall not exceed 20 feet as measured from the front line. Now, a couple of things. Folks, anybody out there who is not speaking, I'd ask that you put your microphone on mute until you're either asked a question or you want to speak, just so we can avoid some of that outside noise. And then secondly, to the Lyrics, you understood that we do not have a full complement of our board?
Yes,
Okay, and do you wish to proceed?
yes,
Okay, also, do you agree to proceed via Zoom as opposed to in person?
yes, that's fine.
Then I would ask you to stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the statements you are giving here are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the penalty of the law of perjury?
Yes,
Yeah.
Thank you. So, please state your case.
well, there's three main reasons why we'd like to widen our driveway. The first being when you have two cars parked in the driveway, you try to open the door, it'll bang into the other car. That's one of the main reasons. Second reason is when you get out of the car, on the driver's side or the passenger side, depending on what side you're getting out of, you step right into the lawn. So in the wintertime, you'll be stepping into the snow. Right now, we're stepping into big mud that's there. And the third reason, and probably the most important, my wife's part, is when she backs the car out of the driveway, she's always afraid she's going to go over this little lip, land into this mud. So I always have to back the car out of the garage and the driveway for her.
Okay, is there anything else?
That's pretty much
No, that's probably about it.
everything.
Okay. Mr. Farkas, is that you who put the picture up of the driveway?
That is not I. I think that's what was submitted with the variance application.
Ah, well, who put that up there?
Probably Mark.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay, well, thank you, folks. Mr. Farkas, what say you?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. The site is currently zoned residential low-density district, the requirements of which can be located in Chapter 1142 of the Elyria Codified Ordinance. The entire subdivision received conditional planned unit approval per Planning Commission case number 2018-89 that allows for this residential cluster. The proposed driveway widths submitted at the time of construction were all at 16 feet. As is the case, as the board's aware, these driveways have come in quite frequently, and the proposal is in line with what past approvals have been granted. This request exceeds the maximum width permitted. Code is 20 feet at the property line, is proposed at 20'5". It exceeds the actual overall coverage permitted of 33.3%. It's calculated at 36.61%. That is all I have.
Thank you. I know Mr. Brubaker's out there. I think he was coming to support the Lyrics. Mr. Brubaker, do you have anything to add for us?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you look at the picture, Mr. Ballard, you will see that the driveway flares out at the apron. And when I help them do the measurements, that extension that they're looking for would come very close to being just inside that flare out. So as Mr. Farkas stated, there are other residents in that development that have requested and received similar approvals.
That's correct. Anything else?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Any board members have any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Golden.
No, it's like Mr. Farkas indicated, Mr. Brubaker indicated, we have seen this before. We had talked with Counselor Taylor last time, and there was some talk, maybe Mr. Farkas was going to talk to the developer and get one big blanket variance for this. But I have no question other than just making that comment.
Thank you. I would agree. And sometimes the wheels of government move a little slower than we all like, but yes, we've seen a number of these. So at this time, the chair will entertain a motion on case number 2021-4, David and Joyce Lyric, 161 Kensington Way, Elyria, Ohio, 44035.
Then, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make the motion to approve this request for a variance, case number 2021-4.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we grant the variance in case number 2021-4. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And anybody opposed? I didn't think so. The ayes have it. Mr. and Mrs. Lyric, you'll get something in the mail very shortly, but your variance is approved.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank
you can leave the meeting if you wish, but you're more than welcome to stay.
We'll try and exit here.
Pardon?
She's looking for the button.
I'll try and figure out how
It
to
should be
get
down on
out.
the right-hand side if you're on a computer. It's in
Yeah,
red.
the
It'll say
last-
leave meeting.
Leave me, got it. I know.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, folks, is there anyone here? Is it George Dargan or Kyle Taylor? Mr. Farkas, in looking at this, especially the third case, I'm kind of concerned. I'm a little bit more concerned that they're not present at this time. Have you had any, or anybody had any direct contact with these folks?
Mrs. Tomsky sent me a text indicating that she had sent out all the notices via email.
Uh-huh.
I just received about an hour ago a request from Mr. Brubaker about the previous case that was just approved, indicating they would like another copy of the Zoom meeting invite. I cannot speak to the other two as I haven't heard anything if they received or not, but my phone has been ringing, so I haven't answered it. So they could be them.
Well, if you want to go ahead and see if it's them,
I'll check it real quick.
this is kind of a first for us. We've had people not show up, but usually there was some communication to some degree. We did have that one fella over on Furnace Street that kept not showing up, if I remember. Hey, there he is.
On my sweater now. Climbing across the desk. Monster.
Gizmo.
Yes, who is that? Okay, enough.
Tim, did you, in reviewing that third one, did you have some concerns with that?
Which one is it? I apologize, Joe. I was stuck in a meeting. What? I didn't see the third one. What's the purpose?
That's a driveway that's 67%.
Oh, yes. I know exactly which one this is.
And the neighbor did it too, from what at least from my reading.
They've
I
al-
didn't have a chance to get over there. I was going to drive over there, but I've been so busy.
When Daryl gets off the phone, he can confirm it, but there's a ton of concrete there.
Oh yeah,
And he kind of sounds like they did it and then asked for permission later.
yeah, that's right. And the pictures that they provided just weren't good enough for me anyway, in terms of looking at how it all went down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, here, you're kind of setting an unusual, here's the only issue I have, because I don't think the neighbors, maybe those ones don't care, but you start a precedent. I mean,
Right.
the amount of concrete, Daryl probably has I think I mean, may in there, additional concrete, it's way over the limit.
Yeah, I mean, And I know it looks like it's a new development, so right now,
Right.
maybe you don't even notice it as much, but I don't know how many houses are supposed to be put over there.
Yeah, I want to hear Daryl's comments when he has a chance,
Yeah,
because I don't like that precedent. I mean, if it was like.
Excuse me, guys. Kyle's leaving a 2-minute plus message. I'm trying to get a phone number. So
Okay.
hold on.
And Kyle's the one we're talking about. Yeah, if this was like, I did talk again to the Ryan and Pulte people.
He didn't leave a phone number, guys. I'm going to try to see what I could come up with here.
And Ryan told, or Pulte, I'm sorry, Hovanian told me they were going to go back and talk to their corporate above them to see if they could adjust that development so we can quit doing these hearings where we keep giving people that extra foot that they need.
Okay, everybody. Kyle just left a message. Apparently, he did not get the invite. I'm going to contact him now. And Mark, if you're there, I'm going to send him your way so he can call in and get through. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
All right. I'm going to call him right now.
Daryl, when you get done with that, even before he gets on the phone, I kind of, if he gets on, I guess we should wait, but I want to hear your input on that much extra concrete.
Well, you want me to say it now or save it?
Say it twice if you want to. He didn't, you know.
As I'm not in favor of it. It's too much.
Okay.
It's already put in.
and so is it the next door neighbors put in as well?
Yeah, they both did it all without permits. And it's, I don't know why. If you look at the photo, they've actually created a turnaround between each yard.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to call him now, guys. Hold on.
Depending on how we vote, we should go through our criteria again.
Oh, yeah.
Amen.
I'm not sure it's as necessary when someone wants that extra foot, but when you get to this one, I mean, we kind of almost have a running dialogue with those people that need the extra foot on each side.
Right.
I actually think that looks better. They should have just right from the end outside wall of the garage.
I can tell everybody this. I did talk to Hal. He'd
I
like,
do.
he would like to come back. And I said,
He
Maybe.
wants to do it by phone, Jim. I saw him last night.
okay, that's what I suggested to him because I went over to the computer department to see if we had any, you know, my word, scrap iPads or something that we could give him for a limited purpose.
I don't know that he could use it though.
He told me he didn't feel comfortable. So I said, Hal, you've been a friend for years and you've been a very loyal member of this board. You got it. The phone idea is kind of what we thought about. And then hopefully maybe in about 3 months or 4 months, we'll be back to live.
Yeah.
But I told him we just couldn't go month after month after month. We had to have some kind of participation just because that's what we need to do. And he couldn't have been nicer as usual.
What about the Shell station? Do we just throw them on to the next meeting?
Yeah, I would, since maybe we've done something wrong with giving notice,
Yeah.
I would suggest we bump it.
I will tell you, if does she send them out by regular mail?
I thought Daryl said she sent them out by email. I don't know we do it that way.
Yeah.
Mark, you haven't done any of these yet, have you?
Yeah, I'm not a part of BOZA.
Oh, you don't, oh, you're not
I
part.
just do the tech stuff.
Okay.
Okay, guys, I told the gentleman he's going to be contacting Safe to Service right now. He should be up shortly.
Okay.
And then the other one, Daryl, the other gentleman and the person on the first list, do we have any phone numbers to call them or are we just going to kick that to the next meeting?
I haven't heard from them. They haven't called in. It makes me wonder now if these two didn't get it, if this gentleman was also omitted. I'm going to see if I can find a contact number and give him a shout out right now.
Thank you. Yeah.
The factors by interesting prose on the factors.
I agree. I just wish people would ask, not try to ask after they spent God knows how much money.
Oh, my God.
The other one's just a sign issue, isn't it? Where they just wanna,
Well, it's a setback and I think he has one too many signs per the code.
right, the size of the sign, there's an issue with the size.
Yes, I speak to George Dragon.
I don't think the size is a problem. Maybe it is, but I didn't think it was.
Oh, it says, no, you're right. It says meets code, sorry.
Joe, do you see your chat message?
I do.
Okay.
All right, everybody, I'm trying. I left a message on his cell. I just called the office. Apparently he's out and about.
I think what we should do is pass this as well to next month. Maybe get somebody out there, talk to this fellow or something and let him
Sure,
know.
what were your comments? I know we'll have to give them, not vote on it, but what were your comments on that sign?
My comments, they have one existing pole sign now that's right on the corner of Lorraine Boulevard and Bell.
Right.
The zoning code says you're only allowed to have one sign, ground sign, in that particular district. It's business or business automotive. Now they're proposing another sign. They call it a truck entrance sign, diesel fuel advertising, and it is oh my gosh, it's a pretty big one. It's like 8 feet high by, oh, here it is, 5'2" wide, and it's right at the property line on Bell Avenue. The zoning code says you're supposed to be 5 feet away with the sign from any kind of property line. They didn't want to push it back because they felt it would get into the turning radius of trucks and vehicles that come into the apron. That makes sense to me. But it also now creates a blind spot.
Right.
Pulling out. So now you got a line of sight concern. So
Yeah, he claims it's a safety issue between trucks and cars.
Yeah. I've been out there. That's a huge trucking car project they put in there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Let's wait till we get him.
No, I know.
But I wondered if has anybody else taken a look at it? I've actually went out there and looked at it in passing.
I did look at it also.
Yeah, I've driven by it. I haven't noticed it as much as we're talking about, but if we pass both of these, I will definitely be making a trip to both places.
So Kyle is getting ready to call in right now. And Daryl, are you looking for a gentleman named George?
yes.
Okay. Were you able to reach him?
No, I left a message. I'm trying his cell one more time.
Okay. I'll give him, I have his email, so I'll send him in.
Oh, hold on, guys. Is this
Okay.
George?
The only question I was going to ask, Mr. Chairman, on the Shell gas station
Yeah.
was this part of the original planning commission approvals? Was it shown on on the planning commission approval at the time?
I do planning commission too. Daryl's got to answer because I do so many of them, but I don't think so, but we can wait till Daryl gets back on.
All right, that makes sense.
Because the planning commission usually doesn't get into the signage issues. That's design review. And we do approve some design review, but only if they can't be done by staff because there's certain things they're authorized to do.
That's correct.
Otherwise, they have to get the variance, which is what we're doing.
And the other reason I ask is because the business is already open there, and I would have thought they would have known that
Right.
this, they wanted from the beginning.
Right.
Hello.
Mr. Chairman, someone's trying to,
Who just said hello?
Hi, my name is Kyle Taylor. I have a Zoom meeting with you guys today, but I've been struggling to get to here to this point because I didn't get the ID number to get in. I had to call someone to get a hold of you guys.
Kyle, if we give you the ID number now, would you prefer to do it by Zoom?
It honestly doesn't matter to me if it's easier for you or whatever's easy for you guys.
I mean, again, if you're there visually, then it's easier to look at pictures and stuff in your project. Mark, do you have the Zoom number for him?
Yeah, so I can shoot it to your email, Kyle, if that'd be easier for the board.
For the group, I got a hold of George. He's going to be calling in shortly as well. So we're back on track. Slight delay, but we're back on track.
Okay, Kyle, what's your email address?
It is C as in cat, R E E P I N K Y L E at yahoo.com.
So CREETINKYLE at yahoo.com.
It's there should be a P instead of the T.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
So Creepin' Kyle.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it like that.
I'm sorry. I just make sure I'm spelling it right. But okay, got you. Hey, Kyle, just sent that information.
What's that?
Hey, I just sent that information to your email.
Okay, let me check real quick. All right, Mark, gotcha. And then, do I just click on the link that says the HTTP?
Yeah, Kyle.
Okay. I'll have to download an app too.
Yeah, you have to have the Zoom app to be able to do it.
Yep, I'm doing that right now. Sorry about that.
Did we lose Julianne?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. I don't know, when they start putting screens up, I tried to get a full screen on my, but I have a screwy mouse and can't figure out how to get it, my picture bigger. Oh, somebody did it for me.
Is there a meeting ID number?
Yes, it's the same one that I gave you over the phone.
Gotcha. Okay. Just want to make sure.
Hi, Miss Colleen. I didn't know you were type. Nice to see you. I looked
Hi,
down.
Jim.
I saw your name there and your pretty picture, and I went, I didn't know you were doing it today.
Yeah, I'm filling in for Kathy today, so
How are you and the kids?
they're doing fabulous.
Good, good.
Yeah, how are your kids?
Now I'm having grandkids, so it's fun.
Oh, congrats, congrats. I remember you telling me about the wedding of your daughter, so.
She's
Yeah.
got one here. It's a year and a half. A lot of fun.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, my oldest one is getting married a year from this September, so we're starting that process. It's
Well,
crazy.
hopefully COVID will be behind you. I've had a lot of crazy
Oh.
wedding stories. I'm sure everybody has in this group.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I think they'll be out of the woods by then, hopefully, so.
Hey, Mark, it's asking me for a meeting passcode.
Yes, so that is, and my apologies. It should be in the email, but
Oh, let me hold on. Sorry. Let me see if I can find it on here.
Is that a 3-digit?
no, I got it, Kyle.
Oh,
883 196.
196. Okay.
Hold on, Daryl. You're going to make it.
Yeah. The Indians call you, Daryl? Try out?
Hey, this is my, I de-stress. Using this. Just killing time.
Gotcha.
Can anybody see me on there?
Not yet.
Okay, let me see.
There should be an open video thing on the bottom left, depending on how your computer or iPad works.
We have really been in this pandemic a long time. If Jim Taylor is giving advice on Zoom.
Mark, that is true.
There you are, Kyle.
They know how
Okay.
bad I am.
All right, folks, let's kind of get back and resume the meeting. Kyle, there's a couple of things you need to know before we go forward. We do not have a full complement of the board. We're missing one today. And you have a right to have your case heard before a full board. If you choose to go forward without the full board, you live with the vote, and that may or may not be different than if there was a full complement of the board. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, if you want to go forward, do you agree to do this via Zoom? We usually have these in-person meetings, but since COVID-19, we have been having our meetings via Zoom. So again, do you want to go forward without our full complement of the board?
Let me ask my wife real quick. That's a good question. Should we go ahead? They're one person short. We'll agree to the Zoom meeting as is.
Okay. So you agree to do it by Zoom and you want to continue today, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will tell you how it's going to go. The presentation will be as follows. You will get to explain your case to the board after I swear you in. And after you get to explain your case, the city will explain their position. And then if there's anybody out there in Zoom land that is a proponent or an opponent of this request, they're able to speak. And then, of course, at the end, we get the final questions and discussion by the board members. So what I would ask you to do And although do we have you on video or did we lose him? But I need you to stand and raise your right hand. And anybody else, if your wife's going to testify, I need her to stand and raise her right hand.
Yep, 1 second.
I think he's still got his phone on.
Yeah, I'm only seeing Julianne and Jim now, so.
Well, Juliana looks good. Me, you can probably do without.
Well, I don't know, man. You're a little shiny, buddy. I need some sunglasses.
Oh, any of you bald guys out there, stick up for me.
Oh.
Eileen, did you take that down for my defamation case?
I've got it, Jim.
Truth is an absolute defense, Jim.
Oh, you guys.
So, Mr. and Mrs. Taylor, when you're ready to, if you're standing and raising your right hand, I just need to know because I can't see it.
Oh, you can't, can you see us now?
I can see him.
Okay. Are you standing and raising your right hand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear that the statements you're going to give at this hearing are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the penalty of the law of perjury?
Yes.
Is your wife going to testify too?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. So we will move forward. And I'm going to call case number 2021-5, Kyle and Christina Taylor, 349 Fairfield Court, Elyria, Ohio 44035, requesting a variance from section 1175.03 of the Elyria Codified Ordinances. The completed driveway extension is comprised of approximately 350 square feet of new material located adjacent to the existing 16-foot driveway. The combined driveway coverage calculates at approximately 67%. The zoning code requirement states that areas of a driveway in a front yard shall not exceed 1/3 or 33.333% of the area of such yard. Kyle, if you want to go first, or your wife, please state your case.
Okay, I'm going to go first. I just want to start off from the beginning where we were at. I just built a house here in Elyria, first time ever living in Elyria. And one of my vehicles is a 14-foot box truck. And when I first moved here, it's hard to explain. It's like I didn't want to leave it in the front yard because it's an obstruction of view. I've only known this from my mom's community, that it's not really pleasing to people in the community if it's blocking people's view, whether it's in my driveway or wherever. So I was looking to other options to place it on my property, but without being an obstruction to anybody in the community. I tracked down the builder for the concrete that was installed for our driveway, and the driveway that were installed in here in this community was done by Floyd's Concrete. And I approached him asking about doing an addition, and there was a few months that went by where he's like, hey, we're booked right now. When things slow down a little bit, we'll get you in and get you done. So he took measurements, did all the setup and figure out his own end. I don't really know much on the concrete side. But then after he got to go and he said, hey, I'm gonna come do your concrete, I have never ever really had a concrete driveway addition. I've never done that in my life, so I've never knew how all this works. But I figured since I'm coming to the builder himself who did the driveways, I thought that it was part of the thing that there would be some type of application put in with the city, permits pulled, just like any other thing out there. Because I don't know if you could see in my picture, but I had a deck put on my house, and there is some concrete back there too, all of which have been pulled by permits. And I never asked the companies to do that. It was part of the the deal when we were building. Floyd's Concrete never discussed that they weren't going to pull a permit, and I wasn't aware that that wasn't happening, because after the driveway got installed, there was no talk. Like, it was, you know, paid up in full. He said everything was good, yada yada, and then I get a note on my door saying it's not approved, and that was a little shocking to me. So that's why I'm here today. But the sole intent purpose of this, hold on, let me show you. Like, it's gonna be dark for a second. Let me come out here with my garage. I want to show you firsthand of what the purpose is for this.
Kyle, we have the pictures with your truck parked there.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was trying to get a better representation of like what I'm looking at here. So here's the back of my, hold on, it's hard to do this on the phone. Here's the back of my yard, and here's where the driveway starts and goes up. Now, oh wow, it's cold. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go back inside. Now, I wasn't aware that there was an issue, and honestly, I probably would have had it permitted myself if I knew that was going to be an issue, just like I did with the other companies that did my deck and my concrete. What do they call it? The concrete slab out back. Those were all done properly, and I plan to do that with further stuff. And actually, I'm planning on coming to you guys later on down the road and putting a pole barn in my backyard. So that is also what's leading to the purpose of the concrete that I'm having. I can't make a full turn in with my box truck without that slab. And I didn't want to place it in my backyard where it's going to tear up the yard, or do it in the front yard where it's going to be a problem for the community. So in all reality, it is a little mishap on my side, I guess, for not knowing certain codes. But I'm actually like really new to this, so that's my apology on that part.
Who's your builder?
What's that?
Who is your builder?
It's Ryan Holmes.
Okay. Continue.
And so I've been honestly, I've been a little bit distraught on this whole thing, because I do want to do it properly. I do want to follow the rules. I had no intentions to not sign anything or put anything through as an application. If I would have known, I probably would have done it myself versus rely on somebody else. But I figured since they were the builder and that was the concrete our driveway was done by the same person that did the side path. So that is the only part on my end that I feel kind of bad about. That I wish I would have had a little better understanding. I don't know if I'm not sure if this, like, how much of this that is truly a concern. But I totally understand that you guys have your rules and regulations you have to follow. And I'm trying to sit here today and explain my case to you about why this is even happening in the first place. It shouldn't be, but other than that, I that's pretty much on my side. I'm just trying to make sure we do it right. So if there is some other guidance beyond this, further for like when I build my pole barn, because that side path will eventually get extended in my backyard for the pole barn, but that's down the road, and we'll talk on that whenever that comes through. But this is the sole purpose of having this driveway.
Okay. Kyle, do you want your wife to say something too?
Do you want anything? She basically, she's on the same path as me. We're new to this game, so we apologize on our part, but I would like to make it right. So if there's anything we could do, that's why I'm here today.
Okay, is that it?
That's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Farkas, I think you said earlier, the Taylors weren't here, but notices did go out per Ms. Tomsky.
Ms. Tomsky indicated that she had sent the notices out. Apparently, they may not have gone through. I am uncertain, but she did indicate they did send them out.
Okay. Again, I might be speaking out of turn, but I know there's a house. It looks like a new development. Is that right, Mr. Taylor? Or
Yes, sir.
Okay. And there's a house to your right if you're looking at this cul-de-sac.
Yes.
Is there a house to your left?
Yes.
So is your whole cul-de-sac complete?
Yes, it is. Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Farkas, go ahead.
Oh. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The property is currently zoned residential medium density district. The requirements of which are found in chapter 1144 of the Elyria codified ordinance. The codified ordinance is clear in regards to residential districts. It specifically restricts driveway widths to 20 feet at the property line and a total coverage of no more than 33.33%. As the driveway was installed prior to any kind of approval, it's kind of after the fact. We calculated based on the site plan submitted, it still had some missing dimensions, so the number is an approximate. Around 67% proposed coverage is what is actually on site now. What further concerns me, which was not brought to my attention until just this conversation, was the box truck being parked in this area. That evokes another concern in our ordinance, which prohibits vehicles over 1 ton from parking in a residential area. So that could be a discussion for another day, but I just want to bring that to the board's attention. With that being said, with the proposed coverage, unfortunately, I would not be in favor of this as it far exceeds what's permitted in past events. We have approved variances in the 35, 38, even 40% range, but nothing of this magnitude.
Thank you. Are there any people out there? I don't see anybody's names, but if there is anybody that's a proponent or an opponent of this, they can speak now. Doesn't sound like it. Comes to us, questions and discussion by board members.
Yeah, go right ahead. Go ahead.
That's all right, Karen, if you have something, that's fine.
Yeah, sorry, you can't see me, but I'm looking at the photos here, and it appears that it's almost looking like it's encroaching on the neighbor to the right's property. If what I'm looking at is consistent here, it looks like it exceeds the edge of the owner's garage. Is there any risk of encroachment or a shared driveway or anything like that as well, Mr. Taylor?
Okay, so yeah, so there was another, the neighbor to, if I'm looking at the street, the neighbor to the right of me also did the same addition as me. This whole path that's in between here isn't just mine. Our intentions were, when I moved in, he saw what I was trying to do was I wanted a little bit of a side path, a little more parking, so I'm not completely full in my driveway because we have more than 2 cars. We have 3 cars total. And he ended up actually getting the same addition. He filed the same stuff as me to the city of Elyria. And I was a little shocked though, because he hasn't mentioned to me about any type of Zoom meeting or anything going on. Because with him on his side, which is obviously that's his own thing. But we were in agreement to have a side path put in. But we were kind of shocked on the way that was built ourselves, because under our understanding, the side path was going to have a patch of grass in between that separates the two driveways. But when it was, after it was put in and done, Floyd's Concrete reached out to us, asked us if we liked it. We just kind of were like, oh, this is sized differently than we expected. So I asked him if it was an issue. He said no, and then here we are today. So yeah, the other house to the right of me has also did the same side path as me to keep it unison, so it didn't look, like I had a piece coming out and he had a piece coming out. So this is where we're at on the concrete situation.
Okay, so it's clear you do have a shared driveway situation now too.
At this point, yes, we do.
Is usually in a situation like this, there's some kind of agreement written up as well about maintenance and things like that. Have you discussed that with your neighbor?
With the homeowner? Yes.
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 And you have something written up agreeing to the shared driveway?
I mean, we never really wrote anything up. It was just, we've been maintaining it, both of us, at the same pace, pretty much.
Well, that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Golden, do you have any questions or comments before we get to
Hello?
our factors?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Hello, who's this?
This is Tim Golden.
Is this Mr. Dragon?
Can I call you right back? I'm on a Zoom meeting. I'll call you right.
Anybody that's not participating in this particular case with the Taylors, I would ask you to put your voice recording on mute. Thank you. Proceed, Mr. Golden.
All right, thank you. Now, it looks like I'm going to overlook the van right now because that's another issue that Mr. Farkas could handle. But the concrete looks like it goes from one house to another house. Am I looking at that correctly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then the second thing, there's electrical meter sockets on both sides facing that. Now, the problem you run into, and I'm speaking as a state electrical inspector, your plans that you sent in to have this house built didn't call for a driveway over there. So therefore, they didn't make the special requirements to have those meter sockets protected from a vehicle driving over there. So that becomes a problem. So something would have to be done about that also if this would go to the next level. I really think we need I don't know. If the other neighbor has done the same thing and butted into this one, I don't know how we can approve or deny one side and not approve or deny the other without both parties here at the same time.
Well, that was going to be my question to Mr. Farkas, that Mr. Taylor had indicated that these other folks applied for a variance. Are you aware of any of that?
I'll give an update. Both cases were filed at the same time. One neighbor, the gentleman to the left of this property, also has a complaint for a shed constructed in the side yard right near this driveway. So these were supposed to go in tandem. It's unfortunate that one did submit and the other chose not to, which may force me to take other action. I think whatever is decided here at this moment would again set the precedence and I just caution the board. As you can see what we have here, what we do for one, as we know with other subdivisions, we must do for all.
Right.
Well, no, I want to, Mr. Chairman, I step in. I don't agree with Mr. Farkas on that, since each variance is to the property. However, with that being said, I would strongly advise someone to speak with the applicant and advise him that he may want to put this off a month. But that's my opinion.
Well, it seems to me, I understand both points. The problem that I have, and I agree with you, Mr. Golden, that, you know, the two requests are to the property. I don't know what, if the similarities or differences with the other adjoining property. I don't know that it would make or break much difference. And if they are similar, and I agree with Mr. Farkas, if they are fairly similar, whatever we decide is going to apply.
I agree with that.
I don't know that it's necessary that both of them actually we have to hear both of their cases at the same time. In fact, we've heard, you know, the Kensington or the Westcott Way or whatever, we've heard several of those. I don't know if they were adjoining properties, but they're all similar. You know what I mean?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I agree with what you're indicating. The problem I have is these are both adjoining. The one adjoins the other property. Mr. Taylor, do you have any legal thing you want to pass on to us as a board?
Yeah, I think you can, with Daryl, you can hear this. Obviously, if it's accepted, there still has to be some type of notice or citation sent to the other property owner. If this is turned down, then obviously there's going to be a notice for sure sent to the other property owner, because they're both in violation if they don't have a variance. Daryl, am I correct? The other property doesn't meet the requirements of 33% coverage either, do they?
We have two inspectors handling each case, as it was reported to split and divide and conquer. To my knowledge, we've received nothing from the adjacent neighbor, so we can even give a number of the exceeding the coverage. I don't want to say ignored it, but has not responded to it. But Kyle Taylor has.
Yeah, we could go forward because if the other person in theory did nothing and we didn't cite them, that wouldn't be right. Now, obviously, Daryl would know to cite him if we turn down this gentleman and his bride, then they would have to be, after the second inspection comes back, and if there's a variance need and not requested, they either have to request the variance or be cited for a building violation.
Well,
Daryl, did you as the building inspector have any other comments? I was just curious if there's anything else in your report.
No, just the actual coverage was pretty large. And as Mr. Golden pointed out with the electrical services, that raises another concern for damage, which was not mentioned from the field inspectors to me. It does evoke, as you can see, the driveway's abut. It promotes a shared style turnaround where one neighbor could use the other's driveway to enter and exit. I think the idea is to provide that buffer. Unfortunately, it's done. There's not a whole lot we can do. In regards to the location, I'm not sure. I'm not a surveyor. I don't know where maybe the concrete is cut on the property line. So they're individually separated. As far as formulating an easement, I'm not an attorney, but I wouldn't promote it because of any underground easements or lines that may go through that area.
well, let's go with this. Mr. Golden, I take it from you that you've asked to pass this case. Is that what your request is?
Well, I'm not making a formal request. I'm passing along to the chair that possibly it would be to the best interest of Mr. Taylor to ask to have this moved on. Well, I'll vote on it whatever way you want me to vote on it.
Well, I think we can proceed.
If I may interject, Mr. Chairman, I would say this: if worst case scenario, the neighbor never responds, that means that this can go on for limbo until we actually issue an order against the neighbor. And I don't think that would be fair to either party.
I agree.
Mr. Taylor, my name's Jim Taylor and I'm the attorney for the board. I'm not giving you any legal advice, but it might be better that both of you are here so that there is an understanding between the two of you, because I think as Karen Mobert set forth, there's a lot of issues when you have a shared driveway. I don't even know, and that was another question that someone just brought up, are there any underground utilities running under that concrete now? Don't know that. Don't know if your concrete guy did any checking on that. another thing that needs to be decided. So Kyle, you can decide, but if you pass it, and I think we can issue something, Daryl, can't we, from the other report? Or if they don't apply, issue some type of citation that would hopefully then make them want to come to the table along with Kyle.
Yes, I'm going to, as soon as this meeting's over, speak with the inspector, find out what update we have in regards to a submittal. And that this is a tough one, just because they basically touch. This is a unique one. I give it to you.
Kyle, it's your choice. We're not telling you what to do. There's just commentary.
Do I have, can I talk for 1 second?
Sure.
I'm not speaking on behalf of my neighbor. I just wanted to just give you that stuff that we talked about. When I asked him if he got his letter for the city from the zoning saying it wasn't approved, or, you know, it never went through, yada, yada. He did submit with me. As for the variance, last time I checked, it was like, I would say a week and a half ago. I'm really adamant about my stuff. That's why I want to be on time, everything out the door, you know? He said he hasn't heard anything back from you guys. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't think he's like that, but I think on more of the half is I had a hard time submitting my stuff too, so I don't know if that might be an issue on his part. And then as for somewhere in the discussion, someone mentioned something about the shed that's in the driveway. It is a plastic prefab shed that he bought from Menards or somewhere like that, Home Depot. It's not intended to be there. It's actually going to get moved once the weather were to break, because he had nowhere to put it in the back, and they had new grass being put in. So it was literally just being for the fact of grass being grown during that time, and then it just hit winter, and that's where we're at today. But as for the property line, the Floyd's Concrete advised us about the property line has a direct cut down the middle that separates the two. I know that it probably doesn't matter. It's a unison driveway. But it was something I wanted to make sure you guys were aware of, that he made sure that it was cut right on the property line. Because even I kind of threw up some red flags on that, but he did comply with me and say that everything was to their standards. So I have to admit I'm a little disheartened just for the fact that I pulled the same person that put my driveway in, and that's throwing me off right now. So just trying to figure this out.
Well, it was suggested to you, this is Joel Fritz, I'm the chair, Mr. Taylor. It was suggested to you that perhaps you may want to ask us to stop going forward today, or do you want us to go forward today?
So I'm new to all this. So
take the hint.
I'm understanding, but like I said, I'm trying to figure out. So what he's saying is in my best interest of having the other guy here to talk to you as well with the same meeting.
Well,
is that
back to your best interest, but you know, you've heard us talking. You've heard what's going on.
Yeah, Kyle,
right.
We can't tell you what to do.
Right.
I figured. This stuff makes me nervous.
The worst scenario, if you table it, is it just waits 30 more days.
Correct.
Right. So just not saying I'm proceeding, but if I were to proceed, this whole, we go through this all over again, or I'm not understanding with that.
No. If we go through this today, we vote on whether your variance is granted or not.
Okay. So, yeah, that's hard. what would my neighbor have to do in order to get inside the meeting? I would have to, if I reach out to him, or are you guys going to reach out to
Well, I'm
him?
sure we'll get a hold of him.
Okay.
Right, Mr.
Um,
Farkas?
Yes, to my knowledge, he has been made aware. We requested the information and nothing has been submitted unless it's been, I mean, he could have sent in a regular mail, which has been behind weeks. It is a possibility.
Yes.
Okay. Before I say anything else, I just want to say if there was an alternative in order to keep the driveway and make accessibility to those utilities on there, if that's one of the big concerns besides the joining of it and everything, if that was possible, would that be another scenario for moving forward?
We really can't tell you that. I mean, there are several factors that this board has to consider.
Okay, because like I said, if the truck is an issue, I can always remove the truck and find a place to store it. I honestly, in my opinion, right now, I'm kind of looking forward towards my future, because my future plans here is to have a pole barn. So I'm still going to eventually ask for the permission to do somewhat of the same style if this wasn't approved down the road.
Unfortunately, Mr. Taylor, those are not they're not before us today. The only thing that we can consider today is your request for a variance on your driveway. And so if you think that all of that other stuff may have something to do with it, then that's a consideration for you as to whether you want to go forward or wait 30 days.
Should I wait 30 days? I'm asking my wife real quick about the 30-day thing real quick. She's just asking me, what does the 30-day have to do with anything? It's to get time to get the other neighbor here to join the meeting and discuss the same scenario that we're having too.
So there's just a better understanding of the whole project. If you're both here, we don't have to have him here to make a decision.
Right. I just don't know. I don't know. See, I'm trying to figure out if that's going to hinder anything by not having him here. That's what I'm worried about. Because like he's in compliance just as much as I am. I don't know if there was a miscommunication with the paperwork or whatever, but he wants this just as much as I do. So I'm trying to figure if that makes a difference or not. I don't really know. That's kind of like the hard part.
The variance here, Mr. Farkas, if I'm wrong, tell me, is really a coverage issue. Will we allow it to be 67%, or in the other gentleman's case, whatever that is, versus the code requirement of 33?
That's correct.
So that's all we're going to hear at this point, Mr. Taylor, from this Mr. Taylor.
All right, we'll go ahead and go forward.
Well, we've heard everything. I think the board needs to go over some of these factors.
Absolutely.
Number one, so whether the special conditions and circumstances exist which are peculiar to the land or structure involved, on which are not applicable generally to other lands or structures in the same zoning district. Who wants to speak on that? I would say there's a couple of things. You have a cul-de-sac. I live on a cul-de-sac. I know that when you are down at the circle end, typically people's front yards are smaller in general in ratio to the size of the property.
That is correct.
Okay. So does that, in anybody's mind, make that a special condition that exists to just this peculiar land? I would say no, because we've got cul-de-sacs all over the city. Everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. 2, whether the property in question will yield a reasonable return, or whether there can be any beneficial use of the property without the variance. think the answer would be, you know, it's the same. I mean, you know, is it gonna yield anything different or beneficial without this variance? It's, you know, it's still a residential home with a regular driveway and a garage if it were built that way. Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Does anybody want to comment any further on that issue?
Yes, I would. This is Karen. My comment is without the variance, without the driveway, let's put it that way, without this additional extension in the driveway, he would not have been able to make the use of his truck functional. That was, right? That's the whole purpose.
No, that's not the question, though. It's whether the property in question would yield a reasonable return or whether there can be any beneficial use of the property without the variance.
The truck is not an
The
issue.
truck's not an issue. It has to do with the property.
Well, and then that would mean also without the extended concrete. So it would still be a functional property. Nothing would have changed without it.
Correct.
Correct then. Yes.
Moving on. Whether this variance is substantial or is substantial and is a minimum necessary to make possible the reasonable use of the land or structures. My belief is the answer to that is no. Does anybody want to comment on that?
The variance is substantial.
This is Tim Golden. Yes, I absolutely agree with you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Ms. Mulbert, do you have anything to say about that?
No.
Ms. Sadowski, do you have anything to say about that? Is she still here? Julianne?
Oh, I had it on mute. No.
All right, so everybody's in agreement that the answer to that is no, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The next factor, whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered or whether adjoining properties would suffer substantial detriment as a result of the variance. Well, I would say yes, for a number of reasons. Whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered. Certainly when you have other driveways that are in compliance and that you have something that's vastly different, I would believe that that's the answer to that, as well as, again, can anybody suffer substantial detriment to this? It's possible because of the size of that. Anybody want to comment?
Mr. Chairman, it's Tim Golden.
Yes,
I
sir.
also agree with you. You also have a problem with rainwater. Where's the water going to go? Which could cause another problem since there's probably no drainage built into the driveway.
And could possibly affect another adjoining property.
That is correct.
Can I speak, Mr. Chairman?
Not yet.
Okay,
This is the discussion for our purposes.
okay, no, you're good.
Okay, then we'll give you an opportunity.
All right.
So everybody in agreement with that?
Yes.
Thank you. The next one, whether the variance would adversely affect the delivery of governmental services such as water, sewer, trash, utilities, electric, things of that nature. I think that this variance possibly could. Mr. Golden brought that very issue up. Would everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Next, whether the property owner purchased the property with knowledge of the zoning restrictions. Obviously, he says he did not. I am particularly concerned with Ryan Holmes, frankly, selling him a bill of goods. you know, they build all around Elyria. Is that correct, Mr. Farkas?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, they are focalized on this particular part of the neighborhood. But
Mhm.
I don't know if I can necessarily single them out as they hired a subcontractor to do the work.
Okay, well then I don't want to speak out of turn or cast aspersions to somebody that maybe didn't do that. But again, one would hope that these builders for profit would know things that you can do and you can't do. But obviously the Taylors were not aware. Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Next one. Whether special conditions or circumstances exist as a result of the actions of the owner. Wow. Well, we've heard a lot of things that go beyond that, but somebody want to comment on that one? Does anybody think that any special conditions exist as a result of Mr. and Mrs. Taylor's driveway?
Well, this is Karen. I mean, I think, yes, that there are. We touched on them with shared driveway,
Yep.
with utility concerns.
So I think the answer to that would be yes, right?
Correct.
Everybody
I
in
can-
agreement with that?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, whether the property owner's predicament feasibly can be obviated through some other method other than a variance. I would say probably no, right?
It's already built. I agree with you.
Everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, whether the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting a variance. And that's kind of like a culmination of factors that we've been talking about. And my opinion, on that is no. Would everybody agree with that?
I do.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then whether the granting of the variance requested will confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied by these regulations and other land structures or buildings in the same district. Yes, I would say yes. I mean, again, if this variance is granted, then you have a precedent that's set. Does everybody agree with that?
That's right. Yes.
And is the variance sought, is it the minimum which would afford relief to the applicant? Well, in hindsight, I guess the answer to that is yes. However, I have a hard time with my dissonance when the factor is whether the sought is minimum considering the size of the project. Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the things that we have considered. Mr. Taylor, your opportunity to respond.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. So back to the area where we were talking about rainwater.
Correct.
The front of the house. I'm trying to explain this clearly. Hold on one second. So like the facing of the house, anything beyond that, there is a cut line for the water to actually go towards the back of the property, which also leads to a storm drain or some type of drain out in the back of our yard put in by Ryan Homes. I've actually witnessed this with myself because when I did some power washing on the concrete, the water actually did roll from the face of the house back towards the back of the property. He had the way they tamped it down, they had it set up so that it would roll back. only reason why I had the same concern of I didn't want a bunch of water collecting up in the driveway or whatever the case was. So we actually did have half of it tilted back so we go towards the drain in the back.
Right.
That was the only concern on.
What's my thought?
Well, okay, so it was a concrete saw cut that, is that what you're saying?
I'm letting them talk.
Yeah, and it was tamped. So from anything beyond the garage, it was tamped down, sloped towards the back of the house.
So
keep
is the
half the water.
where that cut line ends, is the drain right there
For
your back property? You said that water drains to, goes
Yes,
down that cut line to a drain.
yes, it goes back towards
Not-
the back drain.
How far away is the drain from the cut line?
That's a good question.
Approximately, I'm not
any-
going to hold you to exact. So your drain's at the back of your property, correct?
Yeah, corner, like the back corner of my property, not all the way in the backyard, more towards if you're looking at the house, towards the left.
Greater
So
than,
you can
how about this? Mr. Taylor, how about this? Is it greater than 10 feet?
Yes,
Greater than 20 feet?
yes.
So you can see where that still could be a problem, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Trying to think of anything else in that conversation. I actually, that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion on case number 2021-5, Kyle and Christina Taylor, 349 Fairfield Court, Elyria, Ohio, 44035.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make that motion 2021-05 to deny the request for a variance.
And I'm going to have to acknowledge denial as well. Karen.
Is that a second?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we deny the variance request under case number 2021-5. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? So the ayes have it, and apologize for you, Mr. Taylor, but your variance is denied. You will receive something from us in the very near future. You'll get a letter from me that tells you of your denial. Now, I understand that, is Mr. Dragon still out there? He was. But does anybody know if he's still out there?
I see him on here.
And I thought he was the one that was saying hello a little earlier.
There he is. He's back.
Okay.
There we go.
Mr. Dragon?
How you doing, sir?
Hello. Okay, so this is the Elyria Board of Zoning Appeals that commenced about an hour and a half ago. And we would like to call your case, but I'd just like to let you know a couple of things. We don't have a full complement of the board. If you choose to go forward without that full complement, you live with our decision. That decision may or may not be different if we had the full board here. So if you would like to go forward today, please tell me you want to go forward today. If you want to continue this for another month, let us know that.
No, I'll continue.
So you want to proceed today, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And also, do you agree to have this hearing held via Zoom? We normally have these in person at City Hall, but since the COVID pandemic, we've been doing this by Zoom. Are you okay with that?
No problem.
Okay. Last thing before we get going, I would like you to stand and raise your right hand. Since I can't see.
Okay.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear that the statements you're going to give in this hearing are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the penalty of the law of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. So what will happen here is when we call your case, you're going to present your case to the board. After that, we'll ask the city to present their case. If there's anybody out there that wants to talk about this one and that's a proponent or an opponent of your request, they can speak. And then the board will have a discussion and vote on your case. Seeing as this now is the last part of our new business, I'm going to call case number 2021-3. Am I pronouncing this correct? Sakona? Is it Sakona?
Jaconia.
Okay,
Jaconia.
Jaconia Electric Sign Company, 4330 North Bend Road, Ashtabula, Ohio, 44004, for Shell True North Gas Station, which is really located at 905 Lorraine Boulevard in Elyria, Ohio, 44035. They are requesting a variance from sections 1174.12B1 small a and 1174.12B1 small a2 of the Elyria codified ordinances. The number of ground signs and setback on the second ground sign. So there's two issues, I believe. And Mr. Dragon, if you would, please state your case to the board.
Yes, what we're proposing here is Shell True North has been there for a while, and of course we have the main road sign on Elyria Boulevard, Lorraine Elyria Boulevard, but they have the truck entrance and exit in the back of the building off of Bell Avenue and Keys Drive, and they wanted to put a directional with saying truck entrance because some of the trucks were using the front entrance where it's the auto canopy is, and then getting hung up. So they wanted to put a sign with the diesel prices with an arrow saying truck entrance, so the trucks would congregate down Bell Avenue and then of course enter into where their gas canopy is. The problem is that we don't have a whole lot of area in the back entrance there to the right of the entrance, and we wanted to put the monument sign in the grass. So of course, and we wanted the zero setback. If we go back to regular setback, we're in the parking lot, and then that causes just more confusion for the trucks as far as damaging the sign and that. So we wanted to put it into the grass area with a zero setback. And the sign, pretty much, we've been dealing with the city and talking with planning and all that, and we've made a lot of modifications to the sign to alleviate some variances. But of course, the zero setback and having a second sign was unavoidable. But we've met all the other requirements that the city has asked us by being opaque, having the backgrounds blacked out, and done all that. This is a minimum. It's a small sign. Hopefully, it will do it will do its job as far as directing the trucks to the back and then knowing where they have to enter. That was like I say, that was a big stumbling block, that they've been having. Other than that, like I say, I'll take any kind of questions.
Okay, well, next thing we'll have is the city and Mr. Farkas present their position on this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The site is currently zoned business automotive oriented district, the requirements of which are located in the codified ordinance for business automotive. In specifics for signs, the ordinance is 1174.12, which governs locations of monument signs, number of monument signs, and distances of signs to the property line. The first variance is per the section 1174.12B1A, which governs the number of signs permitted. Per the ordinance, only one is allowed on the property. It is a corner lot. It butts technically 3 streets. It has Lorraine Boulevard, Bell, and Keys. Unfortunately, that doesn't bode well, as the code doesn't give them any exceptions for that particular ground sign. It does for wall signs, but not ground signs. They have an existing pole sign right next to Lorraine Boulevard and Bell. This additional sign, due to the size, it's almost 9 feet high and it's 6 foot in width. The location from the property line is the next appeal, as the code says you got to be 5 feet from the property line. And as explained to Mr. Dragon in the past, we had many conversations trying to find a compromise. The intent is to avoid any line of sight issues while exiting the establishment. As this will be right at the property line, you can technically have a blind spot. So I ask the board, please consider that when making their decision. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody out there in Zoom land that is a proponent or an opponent of this particular case, 2021-3? It doesn't appear that there's any supporters or naysayers. So we'll move right on to any discussion by the board members. Does anybody have any particular questions for Mr. Dragon?
No.
So let's talk about, the factors that we need to consider. Are there any special circumstances that exist that are peculiar to this land or structure involved, which are not applicable generally to other lands or structures in the same zoning district? Again, talking about lot size, irregularity, narrowness, shallowness, things of that nature. And I would say no. Does anybody disagree, or do they agree?
I would also say no, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay.
Agree that there's really no special circumstances that exist? Okay. Whether this property in question will yield a reasonable return, or whether there can be any beneficial use of the property without the variance. Well, I guess the answer is no, they're operating, correct? I mean,
Right.
Okay. Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Whether the variance is substantial, it is the minimum necessary to make possible reasonable use of the land. Again, I personally would say no. I mean, they're operating, they have signs. Anybody disagree, or do we agree?
I agree.
I also agree.
Thank you. Whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered, or whether adjoining properties would suffer substantial detriment. I think the answer could possibly be yes when Mr. Farkas was talking about the line of sight. Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Whether the variance would adversely affect the delivery of governmental services such as water, sewer, trash pickup. Didn't hear enough evidence on that. I don't know that that sign would do that. So I would say it probably would not. No, I think the answer to that's no.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Whether the property owner purchased the property without with knowledge of the zoning restrictions, it sounds like they're pretty familiar with this. If they're operating stations and different, True North has got several stations, they're probably aware that each place they're in, city, whatever, has certain zoning. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So whether special conditions or circumstances exist as a result of the actions of the owner. Maybe I misheard Mr. Farkas. Is that sign up, or is it just a proposal at this point?
Mr. Chairman, it is just a proposal at this moment.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wasn't sure. So I guess the answer to that would be no, because it hasn't happened yet. Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Whether the property owner's predicament feasibly can be obviated through some other method other than the variance. I would say, yes, there's signs. And there may be some other methods for signs. I'm not sure about that, but certainly they already have signs, so I don't know that that answer would be any different. Everybody agree?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And whether the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance. The answer to that, no, I don't think so. Anybody else?
No.
Okay,
That's-
everybody agrees with that? All right.
Yep.
Couple more. Whether the granting of the variance requested will confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied by these regulations, other land structures or buildings. Well, you know, again, if you're asking for no setback and you got some line of sight issues, I guess there would be a special privilege on this. And again, I can think of a number of other places that are on 2 streets, 3 streets that we might have issues with going forward. As a matter of fact, I think there's a couple other gas stations either proposed or going to go up in the near future that this decision could impact that. Would that be accurate, Mr. Farkas?
Absolutely.
Okay. Lastly, the variance sought is at the minimum, which would afford relief to the applicant. Again, I guess my argument would be no, as there are other signs, there are signs that are up. This is just an additional sign that causes problems for the city, obviously. Does everybody agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Dragon, I'll give you an opportunity to respond to the discussions that we've just had.
Yeah, the only thing I have to say is that the line of sight that Mr. Vargas brought up, where the property line, if you look at the site plan that was submitted, we have approximately 18 plus feet from the leading edge of the sign to the curb of Bell Avenue. So, I mean, that's almost a whole car that when they're pulling out. So the sign, you know, shouldn't be a hindrance to any automotive. Now, would it be a hindrance to the second car? Yes, possibly. But the first car that would pull up, look each way, the sign wouldn't hinder them in any way, because we do have a close to, like I say, 18 plus feet from the leading edge of the sign. And also, we're going to probably, you know, we asked for 0. I think we can get 1 foot setback, because we'll hug the sign to the back edge of the curb. But there again, that gives us approximately 19 plus feet for visibility for cars. So, I mean, as far as hindrance of anybody, I don't think that will be an issue in this instance.
Does that change your opinion at all, Mr. Parker?
I just mentioned the line of sight as a point of interest, as it still may force people to what I call rubberneck, stick out, get down beyond to see it. It's just food for thought. The moving it back another foot, I think anything you do is better. I don't know if there's any way to design the sign in such a way that it would cantilever back towards the parking lot area, but I don't know if that'll protrude too far into the existing spaces there. You could get more if the sign is designed differently. Just food for thought.
Okay.
I don't know how we would design the sign to change anything as far as that goes. I mean, without making it smaller. But there again, if we cantilever it over top of the curb, it still takes the effect of that. If a truck cuts that curb close with his trailer or something, he could, you know, damage the sign. Not that he couldn't damage it now. I mean, if he goes over top of the curb, but we're trying to move it. Well, you know, we're trying to get away from that radius a little bit too.
Okay. Well, at this point, the chair will entertain.
Wait. Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay, very good. Thank you. The question I have is the engineering drawing that was attached to the application has a note number 18, and it's indicating that there will be install 8 new yard lights on foundations and possibly a new sign out by the exit towards Key Drive. Is there going to be another sign that goes up on Key Drive or Keys Drive?
No.
Okay.
This was a drawing, this initial site plan, because we had trouble getting a site plan. This is an old site plan. So that was probably back when they built the building. So I think the yard lights are already in and everything. Nothing's going to be added here at all. No.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Apologize. Does anybody have any other questions? Okay, then the chair will consider a motion on case number 2021-3, Onyas Electric Sign Company for the Shell True North gas station at 905 Lorraine Boulevard, Elyria, Ohio 44035.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to approve the request for a variance 2021-03 for the new sign, the second sign on the property as submitted.
And I will second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we grant the variance in case number 2021-3. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and your variance is granted. Again, in a week or so, you'll get a letter that grants the variance. Okay, Mr. Dragon?
Thank you very, very much.
All
And
right.
have a nice day.
Everybody have a nice day. It is, I don't have my watch with me, 4:48.
Yep.
And it seems like we don't have any other business or miscellaneous business, so the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn until our next ensuing meeting.
I'll
I'll
make-
motion to adjourn.
Go ahead. No, you do it.
I'll motion to adjourn.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, everyone. Is
Mr. Farkas, good luck to you. This is going to be a tough one.
that Mr. Taylor still on? He was on for a while.
I think it's off.
No, he's gone.
Joel, I'm with Mark.
Is he?
Joel, I'm here with Mark.
Oh, no, I was talking about the other Mr. Taylor. who
Okay.
Just didn't take the hint. Just couldn't get it.
Correct.
Couldn't get it. Man.
Thank you, everybody.